all good things come to an end, and that's what's happened to Town's winning run and their clean sheet run here at Cheltenham this afternoon. 1-1, it's finished at Warren Road. Feels like a frustrating one, but some perspective required on it all, I think.
I think so, yeah, I think so. It's extra frustrating because Ipswich had got the lead, and when you concede a goal so late towards the end, it feels like a defeat. But I think when we all settle down on this one, it's an okay point. This is a tough old place to come here at I call it Warren Road. I'll stick with Warren Road. It's open. It was really windy today. That was a wind affected game. The referee made it very stop-start. Cheltenham made it a really scrappy, chaotic game of football. This was not an easy football match for Ipswich. It was all the things that Kieran McKenna said going into it, and I think overall a draw was probably a fair reflection on that as a football match.
Yeah, I think so. There were some moments of chaos in this game, particularly in the Ipswich Town box at times, which we've not become used to. That, yes, the clean sheet record came to an end in the second half, but there were times in that first half where you feared it was going to happen there as well. Balls bouncing around in the box, a bit of panic, the wind getting in the way and things like that. And it felt like a day where it was going to be tough for Ipswich, and it took something different from them to score, didn't it? We've seen so many different types of goals for Town this season. We can now add a long throw goal to that, and that's what gave Town the lead. But you're right, they'd battled through the tough game, they'd battled through the elements, they'd battled through not being at their best and not getting going and not being fluid, and they were ahead, and that's why it feels frustrating to be here. And those chants during the game of we are top of the league during the game, it didn't see it through. So there are those frustrations, but a point's probably fair, isn't it? I would agree with you.
Yeah, we'll come on to the wider reflection in a minute. Just a few things to say about the game. Marcus Harness missed a really good chance in the first half. Ball came to him in the box after a nice little Connor Chaplin heeled flick, and he just sort of pulled his shot across the face of goal. That was a really big chance in the first half. George Hurst hits the crossbar in the second half. Harness didn't have the best of first halves, did he? Came off at half time. Carl Edwards came on, who added a little bit of spark, I thought, to Ipswich. Then they had the wind at their backs in the second half, and Edwards was a big part in that. Just someone who ran with the ball, drove them up the pitch. It was him. It was his run that led to Hurst cutting inside and rattling the crossbar with a shot. And then finally they did get their noses in front, and it came through an unusual route to goal. We've seen Ipswich score some patient probing moves, some rapid counter-attacks, lots of set-piece goals from corners and free kicks, but I think that might be the first one direct from a long throw this season.
Yeah, he's got a good one on him, Harry Clark. Leif Davis hurled a couple into the box at times as well. A bit of an irony there. We're at a ground where Town were undone by long throws a bit over a year ago, 18 months or so ago now, right at the start of the new ownership's time here. But those top of the league, we are top of the league chants, they came and at that point Town were top of the league, but they kind of faded away, and that was because Town only had a 1-goal advantage, and there was something in the air about Town's goal today, in that you felt maybe that goal was going to be conceded.
Possibly.
It lived a charmed life at times.
First half they got away with a couple, didn't they? That balls that kind of flashed across their box and a bit of sort of panicky defending. There wasn't the usual assuredness about Ipswich defensively today. Possibly a little bit of sort of fatigue coming in is a factor today, as on top of the conditions. It's a long journey, bad conditions, quick turnaround from Friday's game. No Broadhead. He was absent today with that ankle injury, so as we said, sort of Harness didn't hit the same heights in the first half, and you bring in then Carl Edwards on at half time. So a few little factors came into Ipswich just being off their usual game, and the equaliser came because of those conditions, really, wasn't it? It was a long ball into the box, high ball into the box, and it held up in the wind, and Walton's gone to go and claim it, and it's ended up sort of hanging over the top of a defender. He's stretching, he can't get full gloves on it over the top of the defender. It drops loose. Wolfenden can't get enough on the clearing header, and it falls to the last man that you want it to fall to, really, doesn't it, in Alfie May?
Yeah, he took look, he had an empty net to aim for, but he still had to take a nice touch and kind of arc his body to put it in the net. So it's a good finish in the end, but not a pretty one for Town to concede. Christian Walter won't be happy with that. It was a tough one. You can argue always, should he have come for it, should he not? I don't know if Luke Wolfenden would have won that header had he not come for it. But ultimately, it's just that stretch too far, probably because of the wind. But he's been incredible for Ipswich recently. He made some vital saves, penalty saves, big game saves, and I don't think anybody's going to be putting that on people. They were always going to concede a goal at some point. It's just today it's come and cost them a couple of points.
Yeah, and this is a Cheltenham team that I think have now gone 6 unbeaten here on home turf. So there is a reason for that. They held Sheffield Wednesday recently. They were 2-0 up against Sheffield Wednesday in that game. Tricky side, though. It was everything that McKenna said this game was going to be. You do wonder whether, if we go back to Valentine's Day, how we were all on the floor after that 0-0 draw at Bristol Rovers, and Kieran McKenna had the foresight to say, actually, I think that might be a decent draw. Look, this is a tough place to come, and we'll take that. Maybe today might end up being the same thing. Difficult place to come, away from home. Ipswich keep winning their home games. You're not going to win them all. Today might be okay because Plymouth have lost at home.
Yeah.
Who've been in incredible form at Home Park all season. They had to come from behind against Morecambe last weekend. Today they've lost 2-0 at home to Lincoln, which could be a blow for them. So Ipswich do drop down to third, but it's still in their hands because Sheffield Wednesday, they've got the game in hand on them.
Yeah, look, Town had the most difficult assignment out of those automatic promotion chasers today, and they've come away with something from it. So all is not lost, and I would certainly rather be in Ipswich Town shoes tonight than Plymouth after losing that home game like that. So there's a load of twists and turns left in this. What's happened today won't decide it, I'm sure. Plenty more to come. Yeah,
well, the next two are very different, both back at Portman Road. 2 home games to attack. Charlton on Saturday and then Port Vale on the Tuesday after that. We'll see you for those.